Good afternoon. It is September 20th, 2022. And today we had really it was a range day, but in the overnight we trended down. So it's a down day, but you can see it close pretty close to its open. So it's probably looking more so like a doji on the daily chart. um, but it's a doji that opened below this close from yesterday. So I don't know what, I didn't open the daily chart. Maybe I'll do that at the end. But let's take a look at this price action. So I do want to talk about this right here. It looks like good rejection here. And if you went for 2 points and took the engulfing bar, 125, I think you got 8 ticks. So why isn't this a terrific entry? Well, it's not off of this trend channel. Could we have had this trend channel? Well, here's what I would have had drawn at the time. So that looks pretty good to me. But this could be a small overshoot. That actually looks like it is a small overshoot. So, and I'm doing this analysis in real time. This overshoot is probably why this one didn't work out. So this channel is probably valid, but I came in after that. So that's probably why that one didn't get you 8 ticks. But it's also, it's reason to, go for 4 ticks sometimes. Here's why I would have taken it. It looks like rejection. Okay, these aren't STEMI bars. An engulfing bar, in this situation, it looks like a good engulfing bar. I'd probably go short below this. So yeah, you just gotta really try and find that, maybe find the midline. This does look like a midline. So that's a tough one. Anyway, we move on lower. Looks like you have a failure down here, but you can't take that. Right. I forget what I was talking about. I didn't get to this. So this is the channel. You have this, and this has tricked me a lot, but this is a common pattern I've been seeing. This is like a long leg of correction. So typically after that, I like to wait for the failure. But how I looked at this was first entry, second entry short, and then we get this lower high. So I marked it green because this is congestive, but this looks like a pretty common pattern that I've seen, and it's off the trend line. And then we just get like downward congestion for a while, which eventually leads to a break. You can see, we didn't make it to the bottom of the channel, not even to the midline. So you got a first entry, second entry. You might take that, but very congestive. And you get a first entry, failed second entry here, but it's too far from the EMA. And we just like wither away, really, and you get this correction. They trap a bunch of shorts right there. I don't think you can take that, but that's not, it's a lower high after the break, and it just looks like a trap, so you might take that. It's also you got a second entry right there, and it's a lower high from that, so there's reasons to like that, just to ride to the EMA and you get more. This is actually oh wait, no, this is a second entry short. So this looks like a repeat pattern of this kind of first entry, second entry, then you get a lower high, but this one's more congestive. You actually get a failure right here, but it's just too choppy right now. First entry, failed second entry short right here. There's room to the highs, so I'm going to mark that one. And we did just make a new low, so I'm going to mark this aggressive, but that you might take that. First entry. Failure, too far from the EMA, clearly in a range now. We were pretty clearly in a range before, but we break out to the low side, and you get this double bottom, and you get a higher low right there. That's tempting, but there's just not room to the EMA, so I'd be and the bias is down, so I don't think I would take that. Get a second entry long right here, but that's again going into the EMA, and the midline just held prices, so I think you're better off to just sit out of this stuff. Very bearish second entry I'm seeing here. You're going into the EMA, so maybe you take that lower high. Maybe you take this. Technically, this is a failure, but I think you got to sit out and wait. Breaks out, fails down here. Come back up here. First entry, failed second entry. This is not a great failure. But it's also a second entry long. So I like that just because the EMA held so many times. It's basically a small triple bottom right here. And then you get a double test, so you might take that one too, but it's just a first entry. Oh, whoops. And we get up here and just nothing. This is just I don't like these dojis and first entry, second entry, but I guess the second entry really was like right here, but that looks like a double top, first entry, second entry, but it's just overlap, a lot of overlap. We're just going sideways. I didn't like the price action today, really. You get a bunch of tests right here, but it's just so congested. You get a failure up here, but not a whole lot of room to this high. So here's where we're at. We're up here. We just hit this high. Maybe that's like some type of midline. Who knows? Form this range. We break out, and you get a first entry, second entry, short, and that confirms that trend channel. So this is the short-term trend channel. It actually turns out to be part of a greater, larger channel. We come down here, so you would have gotten in on a really good move right there. And even if you just put your stop above each signal bar, 85.25, that gets you 11 points right there. So we form this range, and this kind of looks like a repeat of that first pattern of the day that we saw right here, except this one sets up much better. Then you can see we get a lower high, and that's a failed second entry long as well, off the trend channel. But it's just so congestive. Make a new high, first entry, failed second entry. I like that. Confirms this short-term trend channel. Come down here, and you get this first entry, second entry, but the signal bar is no good. And what they did is they trapped the people going short, took them higher, trapped the people taking that failed short, and then it goes down. So if you see that, you might take that. Come down here, form a little range down here, and why did I like this one? I'm not sure. I mean, I would say you would want to go short on that engulfing bar, but I didn't see that live. So I mean, you might consider a short here though. But I like this one. I would look at all this as a double bottom. So first entry, second entry short, and it's a lower high. So I like that. I would look at this as a double top. First entry failed, second entry long. I like that. Room to the lows, and then it reverses. We get this range and a second leg up, which it just looks like two legs of correction. So I like this lower high right here. Looks like a double test as well. Room back to the EMA, I like that. And then you get a first entry, failed second entry long, good setup. Then we bounce and we form this spike and channel that for the rest of the day. And you get confirmation of it here in this first entry, second entry, and it bounces, and you get a first entry, failed second entry long. Very bullish signal bar. I marked it blue, but in real time, I'd probably be a little scared because of this. It looks like we're ranging. Range, first entry, second entry. I'm going to mark that aggressive but it looks pretty good. It's off the trend channel. Looks like there's room to scalp out. I'd probably just go for 4 ticks. Technically, this looks like a failure. Oh, it's also a second entry long. So I'm going to mark that blue because it's first entry, failed second entry. Oh, the failure happens right here. So I'm going to keep that green. And then we reverse, and you get a failure right here, but that it triggers, and then I'd take that probably, maybe not, because there's support right there. So yeah, let me take that off, and it becomes congested probably for that reason. But when we get this second entry short, with room to this low end, we didn't test that low end, and it's been a choppy day. I think you could take that. So that's how I saw it today. I hope everyone had a great day. I'll be back tomorrow.